In the previous lecture, we have completed the environment setup and also discussed the high level structure of our application. We saw what exactly we are going to build in this course. Now it's time to start the backend development. And the first step in backend development is creating our database structure. So let's begin with that. Inside our project, if you go to the database folder, you will see another folder called migrations. This folder contains all the migration file. Now, if you notice, Laravel has already created some migration default for us. For example, user table, cache table, jobs table. Let's open the user migration first. Here you can see the structure of the user table. Laravel migration allow us to define our database tables using code. Instead of manually creating tables in MySQL Workbench, we simply write the structure here and Laravel will create the table for us. If you look at this file, you will see columns like ID, name, email verified at and password. These are the default fields provided by Laravel for authentication. Once we run the migration command, Laravel will automatically create this table inside our database. Now let's create a migration for our blocks table. To create migration in Laravel, we use this command php artisan make migration and our name for migration, for example create blocks table. Once we run this command, Laravel will generate a new migration file. Inside that file we will define all the columns we want in our table. For example, in our blocks table we will add the following fields, for example id, table, slug, content, featured image, author, status for enable and disabling the blog, views count, publish at timestamp. We are also creating indexes on slug and status so that our queries can run faster. After defining all the columns, we simply run the migration command php artisan migrate. As soon as we run this command, Laravel will automatically create the table in our database. So we don't need to manually create tables in MySQL Workbench. Everything is managed using Laravel commands, which makes the development process much cleaner and easier. If we check the database now, we can see that the blocks table is created with all the columns we defined. Now let's talk about models. Laravel already provides a user model by default. Now we will create a blog model. The model acts as a bridge between our application and the database table. Inside the blog model, we define something called the fillable array. These fields define which attributes can be a mass assignment when inserting or updating data. We also have a boot method in the model. This method is responsible for handling lifecycle events of the model. For example, when creating a record or updating or deleting it, we can add logic here that runs automatically during these events. Don't worry if this is not completely clear right now. We will see practical example later in the course on that. Apart from that, we can also create helper methods inside the model, which we can use inside our controller or services to keep our code clean and organized. Now let's move to seeders. Seeders are used to insert dummy data or default data into the database. In our application, we need an admin login, but we are not going to create an admin registration system. Instead, we will create the admin user using the seeder. So here we have created a super admin seeder. This seeder inserts an admin record into the users table. For example, in our case, we are going to seed admin@sitespeaks.com and the password is admin123456. Once we run the seeder command, this admin record will automatically created into our user table into our database. Seeder are also very useful when you want to populate your database with demo data for testing or development. So in this video, we have covered three important concepts in Laravel, which is called migrations, model, and seeders. These components help us and so in this video, we have covered three important concepts in Laravel, which are migrations, model, and seeders. These components help us manage our database structure and data efficiently. In the next video, we will continue building the backend and start implementing more functionality for our application. So let's move to the next lecture.